Well, hello there, everybody. My name's Sue Crooks, and I am the founder, the passionate founder of LoveBiz Networking, where we've been supporting and connecting women in business for over 10 years. And I am honoured to have Stella Munro with us today, who was our winner of the Networker of the Year award at the LoveBiz Awards. Stella, hello and welcome.
Hi, Sue. Thank you very much. What a lovely welcome.
Oh, bless you. It's a nice place in LoveBiz, isn't it? We all get on well, and it's just a lovely, warm place to be.
Yeah.
Would you like to introduce yourself? Would you like to share your journey, where you are today, what your passions are about what you do?
I'd love
Over
to.
you.
Thank you. My background is mainly in admin work. Started off as a personal secretary when that was the title for them a long time ago, and had a variety of jobs doing that. Travelled quite a lot with that work, but then I not got bored, but I needed more of a challenge, and I moved into human resources, which I loved to start with because I love people, and I was recruiting and developing people. But then, unfortunately, the business that I was in moved their production to the Asia Pacific region, which gave me the opportunity to visit Singapore a couple of times and work there, which was brilliant. But it meant that the production was all going over there. So instead of recruiting people, I was making people redundant. And I hated that with a passion. It just wasn't me. And I felt so guilty, although it was never my decision to do it. I just felt bad about it. So
I'm sure I've had to do that in the past, and it's the worst thing to do.
It is.
Stella, can I just pick up on one of the things you say? You've been, you were traveling a lot. Where in the world have you been apart from Singapore, which you've mentioned?
Thailand, Australia, the Maldives, Cyprus several times, Lanzarote several times, France, Germany.
You are well travelled then.
Yeah, I love.
And did you used to go to Singapore quite a bit?
I went with work twice for 2 6-week periods. So I lived and worked there at the time, which was an amazing experience.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, it was. And I was wined and dined every night because there was always a director there who would take everybody out. So put on weight too.
There's positives from there then. Do you take it? But what an experience.
It was. It was
amazing. What
amazing.
happened with you after that horrible time of making people redundant?
I went into direct selling, which was completely out of the blue. A friend of mine started as a manager with a company selling conservatory blinds and encouraged me to go and join her, which I did. And I enjoyed it. I loved it. Until we had the property crash in 2008, when everybody stopped spending money on everything. And because I was working commission only, I wasn't earning any money. And it wasn't a good time. So I went with another company that paid me a very low basic wage, still doing direct sales. And then in that time, I'd lost a lot of weight and people wanted to know how I'd done it. And so I shared that with them and ended up, after a couple of years, having a healthy lifestyle studio that was mine. It was my business, and I was very proud of my business.
And I think that's when I first met you. You still had that, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, that's fine. That's when I joined LoveBiz. And I really enjoyed that. The feeling that you get from helping somebody be the best version of themselves is just incredible. And I think that's when my passion for people got reignited from when I was in HR. And I love people. They fascinate me, all the quirks and everything. And then I had to close that business down because the premises were going to change to being residential rather than commercial. But I didn't really know what I was going to do after that. And I did one or two things which weren't really very successful. And then I've been thinking for some time, I wanted to do something that would help people. So I And I'd also been to quite a few funerals. As you get older, you do tend to go to more funerals. And both my parents and my sister, my younger sister, whose funeral I was obviously at, some of them were good, some of them were bad. And I thought it's sad that that's the last thing that you remember about that person, if it's not a good one. And then I went to one nearly 3 years ago now that was absolutely outstanding. And it was a funeral celebrant that did it. And I'd never heard of a funeral celebrant before, although looking back, I realised I'd been at funerals where it was a celebrant-led funeral. And this lady was absolutely incredible. I knew that there were very difficult family circumstances behind the scenes, but you would never have known from the way that she led that funeral. And I sat there thinking, I'd love to do that. What a wonderful thing to be able to do for people at such an awful time in their lives. And because I wasn't emotionally involved in the funeral, it wasn't a close person to me, I got talking to her afterwards, and she told me how she got trained and what it was like and why she did it. And I didn't do anything about it, but I just let it sit in my head for a little while. Didn't tell anybody. Then I did start telling people, and most people that I told, oh, yes, we can see you doing that. That would be fantastic.
I think I was one of those people.
Yes,
you have just the perfect personality for doing this.
Yeah. I think I can remember being at one of your meetings and saying that I'd come up with an idea of what I was going to do. And right at the end, you came up to me and said, tell me, what is it? What are you going to do? So that was...
I remember that day.
Yeah, it was good. And then I started finding out about training courses because I knew I needed to be trained properly to do a good job. Found out where I could go. Also found out that I could get a free course. You can have the adult version of a student loan, which is amazing. So I enrolled, and then I told my husband.
I love that. Then you told your husband. That's what we like.
Yeah. And his reaction was very different from everybody else's, more along the lines of, where on earth do you get your ideas from? But after he thought about it, he said, yes, I can understand why you want to do it. So, and this was in 2020, and I enrolled on the course to start in January. And while I was doing, because the first part of the course is distance learning that you do at home. So I was having to do essays and all sorts of horrible things that I hadn't done since I'd left school. So that was quite a challenge. And then, of course, COVID struck. And the second part of the course was a residential session, a week in a hotel, which should have taken place in the April, just as we went into lockdown. So that didn't happen. And I was sort of left in limbo, didn't really know what I wanted, what else I could do. I knew I definitely wanted to do this, but didn't know when I was going to be able to finish it. And eventually I did in the September.
And I think there was a large round of applause when you let us know that you did it, because I think every month we were saying, what's happening, Stella? What's happening? We were all behind you.
Yeah. And if it hadn't been for LoveBiz during that time, I think I'd have gone completely bonkers, because the meetings were being held every week. There was at least one meeting a week that you could go to, and the support and the encouragement that I got from that, just having somebody to talk to and explain what was going on. And I was missing my family, missing my children and my granddaughter really badly. So it just kept me going all the way through.
Well, as I said, I think the other day, it kept me going as much as LoveBiz kept our members going, because we had purpose as hosts. We had a purpose. We were put here to make sure we kept you all together, and it was so important for us all. You really did keep me sane. As I say, I had purpose, and I made sure we put on extra events, because it was an awful time, something none of us will forget, you know. And I think it's seeing people like yourself who've got through what was the hardest few months to begin with, just starting your course and then not being able to complete it, like you say, on that limbo land, and then for you to actually get through there. I think it's just fantastic that you were able to do that. You persevered, and you just were motivated still to do that. You didn't give up. Some people would. So I think it's brilliant, Stella. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I was very proud of myself for doing it in the first place, because I'm in my 60s and I was training for a totally new career, something I never, ever thought I would end up doing. So, yeah.
You can change your career at any age. I changed mine at 40. You changed yours at 60. And what's fabulous is the people I'm meeting, the women that I'm meeting now who've set up new businesses at all different ages over the last 2 years. I think it's absolutely fabulous that women are doing this. It was a time to perhaps assess what they were doing, and so many new businesses have set up. So we need to support each other just as much as we did throughout lockdown and even before lockdown. So Stella, you're a celebrant.
Yes.
Helping people, and you've shared with us why. So you are also Networker of the Year from our awards this year. So how did you feel about being nominated firstly, and then to have won the award?
Being nominated was a huge honour. And I was nominated last year for that award and a couple of others. And that was amazing. I couldn't believe that people thought enough of me to do that for me. So that was brilliant. But then to become a finalist and know that I was in the final 3 was incredible, until I saw who I was up against, because the 2 ladies that I was up against are both fabulous networkers and have been in LoveBiz for longer than I have. And I went to the award ceremony and I was really excited about it. But then I was excited last year when I wasn't a finalist, because I just love parties, and your parties are brilliant. Yeah. And the fact that this year we could go and we could move tables and we could hug each other and get up and dance, which obviously we couldn't do last year. So that excitement was there. And people kept saying, you'll win. And well, no, I don't think I will. And because I don't dare to let myself believe that it's possible that I would, so that I'm not too disappointed if I don't, if that makes sense. So when my name was called out, when I was stood up and I was called out, I can't explain how I felt, but it was everything all just came together all at the same time. And then having to walk up onto the stage, I mean, it was unexpected, because I hadn't prepared a speech, even though you told us that we needed to think about what we were going to say. I hadn't done that, so I can't really remember what I said. I know someone recorded it, and I have got the video of it, what I said, but where that came from, I really don't know. So whatever it was genuine.
And I think that's, even though we suggest that you think of something you could say, I think to see people who are genuinely, shocked that they've won the award and they say things just from the heart, I think that's so important, because that's what we're about.
Yeah. And I knew I was in tears at the end of that. So yeah,
there was a lot of tears.
Very emotional. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very emotional evening. So would you say to people, go and nominate? Would you suggest? Because it can make someone's day, can't it?
Oh, yes. It can make a huge difference to that person's business, because it gives you confidence to know that you've been nominated, that people have noticed what you're doing and think that you're worthy of being nominated is a huge compliment. And it really does give a boost to your confidence. It certainly helped me.
Oh, absolutely. And it helps with marketing as well, your business. When you say you're an award winner, it really does help. And I think some people forget that, what they can do with that win and share that. It really is good for engagement and things. So we've mentioned that we've known each other for a number of years. So what made you join LoveBiz in the first place, and how long have you been a member?
I think I've been a member for over 5 years now. Maybe even more than that. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I think it's 6 or 7, because if you're like me, Stella, the last 2 years I've sort of forgotten It's
Yeah.
like they've sort of merged
They
up.
don't count.
Yeah, they just don't count. So we think something's 3 or 4 years ago, and actually it's a lot longer than that. But you have been an established member for a number of years.
Yeah.
Very, very well known, and network. And that's why you won the Network of the Year, because you go to other networking events. You don't just stick with your own area. You show up, you're visible, you're seen, and people know who you are, which is fantastic. So, what made you come and join us?
I've been to other networking meetings, joined other organisations, and got quite disillusioned with them. They were mixed. They were men and women, and I don't dislike men. In fact, I like men very much. But
so do I.
Yeah, it wasn't. It just didn't suit me. It wasn't right for me what I was doing, and some of the men that were in the organisation that I belonged to always regarded the women as, "Oh, you're just here for pin money," sort of thing, and that used to annoy me. And then I heard about LoveBiz, and it was all women, so I went along to try it out. I knew Jackie Drain, who was the host of the group that I joined. I knew her anyway, so I was quite happy to go to Jackie's meeting. And when I got there, the welcome that I got was amazing. And I was also surprised at the number of women in the room that I knew from other things. So that was nice.
Yeah.
And I just felt as if I belonged right from the start, and that everybody was helpful, pleased to see me. And I've never come across any bitchiness in the group at all, in any of the areas. No, it just doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen because there is so much support. And I think some people will perhaps come to our events and they might not be the right event for them. Maybe they're in a harder sales environment, that they need to be in that environment for their networking. We at LoveBiz, don't we? We get on with each other. We really, really do support each other. And, we're not just about networking with each other and selling to each other at all. Support is actually well before anything else to each other. So actually my next question was, what do you get out of LoveBiz networking? But I think you've mentioned some of that already.
Yeah, I've made some really good friends. I've had support with my business from yourself, from other people with printing, with helping me do a marketing plan, all sorts of photographs, everything that you could possibly think of.
We've got a great amount of different women as members who can help us with literally everything from insurance to accounting.
Oh yes,
to marketing. Yeah, we've got everybody, haven't we, in the group? It's fabulous.
Yeah.
Stella, is there someone you'd like to mention? We always ask this question because I think it's really important that we do, because it's not just about me. It's not just about you, Stella. It's about the other members, isn't it? So is there someone you'd like to mention who's supported you?
Yes, there is. I'd like to mention Sarah Spare, who is also a member of the same group as me with Jackie. And she is a really good friend of mine. She teaches me to play the piano, but sometimes when I go for my lesson, we don't even touch the piano. We'll sit down and we'll have a brainstorm about my business. And because her background originally was in marketing, she's helped me enormously with my business, and she's encouraged me and pushed me and supported me all the way through, right from when I was doing my training. She offered to help me if I needed anything reading through or any amendments making. So she has been an absolute gem for me.
That is so wonderful to hear. And she like many of us, as soon as March 2020 happened, she was a piano teacher, so she had to adapt, didn't she, with her business, which was great to see.
Teaching people on Zoom, which I think is quite difficult.
And I saw a post the other day where, I can't remember who it was. Someone's father had actually gone for their in-person piano lesson for the first time.
Mandy Noss.
Do you know?
Mandy.
I did want to thank you for confirming that. I thought of Mandy and I thought, perhaps it wasn't, and I didn't want to say the person's name. Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. And Sarah will be quite shocked, I'm sure, that she's being mentioned. And that's the lovely thing about our interviews. We like to, we do like to share people who've supported us. So, Stella, we're nearly at the end of our interview, but what's next for you? What's happening with Stella? What's the next stage of Stella's business journey?
There's a couple of things that I'm working on doing, and another one that's sort of ticking away at the back of my head. So the one that I'm working on at the moment is, instead of people having a half-hour slot or sometimes a 1-hour slot at a crematorium or at a cemetery, where you're bound by time and it's really difficult to tell somebody's life story in half an hour and include music and readings and everything else that goes with it. I've been thinking for some time about organising a funeral in a venue somewhere. So you could either have the cremation beforehand, and then instead of just the wake in the venue, you could have the celebration of the person's life there as well. Or you can maybe, in some venues, have the coffin go there and then have it taken away at the end of the celebration part, and then carry on as normal. There's lots of different ways that you can do this. So it's in very early stages at the moment. And my favourite funeral director, who supported me all the way through, is very keen to do this as well. And we've had one meeting, so it's something that we're working towards doing.
Oh, Stella, I think it's an amazing, fabulous, wonderful idea, because you're absolutely right. We're against time, and sometimes people perhaps aren't listening because they're so emotional at that funeral. And then when they go back to the venue or something where the wake is, perhaps that's the time to share some of those stories as well. Stella Munro, you have been a superstar. Would you like to share how we can contact you?
Yes, you can contact me on Celebrant at stellamunro.co.uk, or I have a website, which is stellamunro.co.uk. I'm on Facebook as Celebrant, or on LinkedIn. So, or you can look for me on the LoveBiz members page. So there's lots
fabulous
of finding me. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been absolutely wonderful, as always, to chat to you, Stella. And I look forward to seeing you very soon in person as well. Thank you for your time today. Congratulations again for your award. And we'll see you very soon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sue.